So, Devil Wears Prada. She runs away from that life because it sucks. Miranda, this really powerful woman who's got, like, great presence and respect of everyone, and, like, her life is genuinely horrible and lonely and sad. It's just tragic. And you can respect her strength. You don't want to be her. And Andy decides she doesn't want to be her, so she runs off. And then, so, we can look at the movie and we go, correct! You did a real woman. You did a real girl boss that we don't want to emulate.
Haven't seen violence inherent in the system! Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bloody peasant! Oh, what a giveaway! Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?
Welcome back to Help Help. We're being repressed. We are trying out a little bit of a new setup today. Since we are
separated by
2,033 miles apart, about.
It's far.
It's a long way.
About a 30-hour drive.
So we're gonna see how this works out, but new situation. We have got a rather fun topic to touch on today. We are going to talk about Christians and the girl boss. Starting off with Mulan. So, How long has it been since you watched the OG Mulan, Ameera?
I have no idea.
Eons and eons.
But, I mean, it's pretty memorable.
Yeah, for me, it's been about 10
minutes?
hours.
10 hours.
The reason that we thought of talking on this is I had a little bit of a conversation in recent history where some pepples told me that Mulan, the OG one, of course, is feminist. And we decided to have a little
Feminist, bad, and bad for your children.
Feminist, bad for your children, not Christian, encouraging the wrong things. And I went, I don't think it was, so...
Well, we watched it as kids, so apparently our parents didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, but we also watched The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that's
not nearly as much, my gosh. Watched it probably like twice. And we all were going like, she's such a fusser! She's such a fusser!
But we also had the flu at the time, so, you know.
Mm-hmm. Flu movies were pretty iconic.
I feel like I also watched Mulan when I was sick, though.
I think Mulan was actually more of a flu movie for me. As I got older, I wanted to shake it up, so we had a little bit of Little Mermaid flu movie action, but we had Mulan on our iPad, so when we got shut into the one room where you get shut into when you're sick.
With the silver bowl.
With the giant popcorn bowl. And a little iPad to watch Mulan.
While you throw up.
So.
Good memories. Okay.
Yeah, so the arguments that I heard against Mulan in this conversation where I was operating on 10-year-old memories before I was operating on 10-hour, was it's like, well, a woman shouldn't go to war. And it's girl bossing. And she's beating all the guys and she's getting the glory and like, okay. But here's the thing that I worry about in our reactiveness against feminism. Is I think that Christians and conservatives, because of how feminism has treated strong women in stories, can just flinch away from all strong women.
Well, there's always two ditches for every situation, where it's like, if you react fully against this, like, girl boss situation, where it's like, power suit and fighting the men, being victorious, domineering, and then you go straight into the, no, you're only, like, petite and frail, and you actually can't do anything if you fight at all in any circumstance that's being a man.
Yeah, you shouldn't be strong. Men are the emotional stability for their women. You can't expect women to, be able to control their emotions. They need a fainting couch.
Emotional stability is something both genders should strive to have.
Yes! Let's do that.
Shockingly.
Let's both be stable.
This is actually one thing that I've totally seen, is making a feminine flaw, saying that it's good because it's feminine.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, kind of, an understandable reaction when the world is attacking femininity at all. So everybody goes, let's clutch on to anything that looks feminine. And you go like, no. That's a bad one.
also not correct.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're talking about girls being hormonal and prone to this type of swerving emotions, you can be like, no, that's natural. And I go, like, it's natural and you're supposed to not.
But I feel like both, yeah. I feel like everyone uses that excuse.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny when the people reacting to feminism and the feminists use the same excuses, you know? Where the feminists pull out the, like, let's normalize periods, like, you need to be understanding of all of my hormonal cycles, I need you to pander to my current emotional weakness. And then on the conservative side, it's, like, encouraging fragility and being like, it's natural womanhood, so you should give into it. And it's just like, no.
Sourdough in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Sourdough's great.
The thing is,
I'm all for sourdough.
While we're facing down feminism, one of the biggest questions that everybody likes to pose is, what is a woman, right? Understandable. It's apparently very difficult to answer these days.
I mean, it's somewhat biological.
It's got some connections. but obviously there's the biological answer, which is the answer in front of all the trans movement, where you just go like, no, it's what were you born as? But there's also the not biological answer, the behavioral answer, where it's like, okay, this is what makes you a woman, but then how do you become a good woman? What makes a good woman?
Yeah. Because you talk about, like, toughness and strength, and you really want to make sure you don't purely define those as masculine qualities. Where it's like, if you look throughout history, and even now, it's like you realize how tough both genders have to be.
Yep.
And there's a proper way for each one to be tough. Like, it's not one-to-one.
When we're defining femininity, we just want to watch out for the pretty common ditch these days for conservatives, which is floral print and sourdough. And
both
you can say
are good things.
Excellent things. I love the sourdough trend. I mean, I don't personally eat sourdough. I like that other people do it. But floral is feminine. Baking is feminine. However, that's not, like, the core of femininity. And you don't want to be teaching your young daughters that this is the definition of femininity.
Well, part of it is you don't want to define it by the trappings.
Yep. By the decorations.
Yeah, it's like, so there's actually an internal thing that is much more important. And I think when you look at something like Mulan, and you have people reacting and being like, it's feminist, it's nonsense, it's like, so are there things about it that totally could lean that way? Sure. 100%. However, is it a bad movie, and is its depiction of a woman a lie? That's one of the things you want to look at, is where it's like, okay, so these women media or in history, it's like, are we saying to be exactly like them? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
One of the bigger things is it lying about what women are and women should be?
That's the two things we want to talk about, is the role model women in history and fiction, and then just the truth about women. So, feminism, the first and foremost problem with feminism in fiction, really, is just that it's a freaking lie.
Yeah, it's not how women actually work.
A lot of those characters aren't women. So the first thing you want to come over is like, okay, what is a real woman? And then we would go like, and then we want our protagonists to not just be real women, but be good women. But then our other female characters, you know, villains or side characters, cautionary tales.
They should also be real women. Yeah. Also real.
Yeah.
So if you look at Mulan, and the first question is she an actual woman? Like, is this a guy in a skirt type thing? Because people do that when they're trying to make a tough woman. They're just like, here's a man with hair.
Yeah. But a tough guy, not just a man. A really boring man.
Really boring.
Where everybody that they're doing their choreographed fights with has to be, like, careful to make it look like they could possibly win.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Like, when I watched the first 5 minutes of Wonder Woman 84 or whatever the heck it's called, I was like, I could have killed her in the first 5 minutes. It's so contrived.
Yeah.
So we want to stay away from that. So Mulan, is she a real girl? Yes.
Podcast pose.
Podcast pose.
Right.
This is the podcast pose. Uh, I think the answer is easily yes.
Yeah.
That's another problem with the defining femininity by the trappings of femininity, is that not all girls are the same. And not all girls are called to be the same.
No, because you're also supposed to cultivate what God gave you, and God gave people different talents and different abilities. Some girls are going to be much better at sourdough.
Yeah, and some girls look better in florals. But, so, there have been many time periods where people have a too narrow definition of femininity, and girls who are outside of that, but still within the realms of femininity, according to God, feel trapped.
Yeah, you want to align yourself with what God claims is feminine, not what the world claims is feminine.
Yeah.
And right now, the world is like, you are feminine just because you're a woman. That's not actually the case. You can still act masculine. You can still be doing things you shouldn't be doing.
Actually, that's something that they say, but they don't necessarily act by. Just recently, I watched a video by this woman speaking out about how she was in high school from like 2016 to 2020, and she's a tomboy. And she spent all 4 of those years with all of the adults trying to convince her that she was trans. Because you couldn't possibly dress not girly or act not girly and be a girl. And she was being very grateful for her parents, well, her stepmom and her dad, for protecting her from it. But she's speaking out like, you can't define femininity in such a way to give all the girls outside of that strict definition an identity crisis.
However, there still does need to be a definition, because you can also see like body positive influencer, I think Alona. Do you know how to say her last name? The rugby player?
I only call her Alona. I don't know her last name. The Olympic rugby player. Everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, that one. Olympian. She will wear a super skanky outfit, dress, and just be like, this is feminine. You know, because you're a woman and you put it on. It's like, no, you're an Olympic rugby player, so it's like she's very good at what she does. However, it is not feminine. She's acting masculine in a lot of different ways. And it's just like, no.
Yeah, so...
Just being a woman does not give you the right of calling yourself feminine.
Yeah, so you look at Mulan, and you go, here's a girl who's out of place in that culture's definition of womanhood. Which is very, very, doll-like and pristine. Yeah. And you've got yourself a little bit of a chaotic gremlin. Bad words. Chaotic gremlin. I'm like tripping over. Yeah, it was the internet. Okay. You've got a chaotic gremlin on your hands. And she's girly. She's genuinely super girly. She's always like she's got herself a giggle. Her look when Shang takes off his shirt is kind of funny. And she's like, dang. She's crushing on him so hard. She's like, she doesn't understand men at all and totally fails in her imitation of them.
No, she completely fails to act like a man.
Yeah, but she's girly. She's genuinely girly. But what you have is someone who doesn't fit into that time's definition of girlhood.
She's also doing her best to please her father, please her family. She really wants to. It's just not her thing, I guess. Yeah, so you see a girl, but I would argue she's a very real girl. And then when you talk about the action, I could meet someone like that. And it's just a girl.
It's just a girl. But then you turn to the action, because that was one of the things raised in this earlier conversation, was like, is she girl bossing to an unrealistic extent? Can a woman emotionally and physically survive this kind of scenario? And the answer's like, yeah.
Wait, to be fair,
she fails.
Wait, hold up.
Drastically.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah. It is
so
cartoon.
Surely,
cartoon physics.
Yes, there are cartoon physics, exaggerated things, but generally, not in necessarily every single instance, but as a general thing, she probably she failed to act like a dude. Mm-hmm. She failed all the strength things at the beginning. It wasn't immediate success, we can say. But there was also, I think,
she makes a fool of herself.
I think the reasoning was not her trying to be a girl boss or trying to do this. It wasn't actually, even though you see this character at the beginning who's having this kind of crisis of self-identity, not knowing who she is, wanting to fit in, wanting to like please her family,
Please her dad.
not being able to. So you see that. However, she doesn't go on this journey for self-discovery. It isn't because she wants to be a girl boss. It's because she sees that's where the little dragon's plan. He's like, we're going to make a war hero.
He actually is like nerfing her the entire time, keeping her in the camp.
Yeah, he's the one who's like, we're going to make this girl into a war hero. That's not her plan. Her plan is to save her dad, basically, who's old, would die if he went to war.
He's not just old, he's injured.
Yeah.
But I'm still caught up on just wanting to comment on the fact that even with the physics of it, the being cartoons, they don't actually have her physically girl boss that hard. Because she goes in, she fails drastically, and then she and the other losers in the camp, who are guys who really have not worked out ever, like, type thing, they all, like, improve as they work on it. After failing.
She has a couple moments.
Yeah, no, sure. But the thing is, so she gets stronger when she's training. And I'm like, that's fair. We do get stronger when we train.
Nah.
But then her actual, like, moments of success in the film are not from physical strength.
Her greatest moments of success, I would say that.
Her greatest moments of success are from her being determined, resilient, and plain smart. So, the avalanche situation, she's got a cannon.
Yeah.
So, like, she's not beating up the Mongols. She makes a plan, books it, gets it did. And then the other girl boss moment is her fighting the Hun, right?
Yeah.
Which is mostly her running the heck away to try to get him to the spot where Mushu can shoot him. So, girls playing bait. Unlike Shang, you know, her man, who actually goes hand to hand with the Mongol, she manages to disarm him, and then when he's distracted, she kicks out his feet and stabs his cloak. But, like, so I'm just saying, in terms of, is she a real girl? She's genuinely girly, genuinely feminine, and then it doesn't purely rely on, I'm just stronger than the guys to succeed. Because when you're talking about her intentions, that's a big important part when you're talking about the morality of it. My read on the film is like, her original intentions were noble. She was being stupid. And I would still say immoral because she disobeyed her father. And it's like, your dad is injured. He would die if he went. And this is hardly a time and place that's friendly to women living alone. So it's actually a pretty high-stakes scenario. This movie's pretty serious, actually. There's a bit of a death count. But,
just a little bit, you know.
Just a little bit. So she makes the decision, I'm going to do this to save him. And her identity crisis features, but part of it is stemming from her insecurity of, like, I'm disposable, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. However, I do think that the movie accentuates that she's being stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially given her and Mushu's disastrous partnership, where they're just failing and failing and failing and failing, and Mushu is being an absolute moron for wanting her to be a war hero. And then, this is a part that I hadn't, like, remembered explicitly. But did you remember that after she gets busted for being a girl, she and Mushu have a little self-reflection time? Where she goes, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done it, and honestly, I may have been being more selfish than I admitted. Where it's like, I was so caught up in myself and my own insecurities that maybe I wasn't being, you know, as well-intentioned as I thought I was. And then Mushu apologizes because he's like, I was being stupid. I was also using you for my own benefit.
I feel like once you realize that, and she has, like, admitting that I was being selfish, that makes her later decision actually more selfless.
Yep.
Because she knows she could be totally misunderstood. That people aren't going to get it. But it's like, she still has to do it because lives are in danger. Yeah. And she's the only one who knows. And it's like, okay, so if a Christian's looking at that, are you really going to tell her not to go warn people?
Yeah. Because at this point, there's no part of her that's trying to prove herself at that point.
Yeah. No, she's doing it without thinking of herself, which is what she needs to be doing.
Yeah, because at the beginning, she was still, I think, making a selfless decision, but she realized it's like she was also still thinking about herself. And at the end, she's not thinking about herself at all. She's just doing what she needs to. And she's being smarter this time.
It's actually what C.S. Lewis says. We've probably quoted this before, but when he says about
quoted
humility,
it in the Hemlock episode.
Yeah, where you're like, it's not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. And she progresses to actual humility. Because at the beginning, it's like she thinks terribly about herself. Like, she thinks that she's worthless, you know?
Yeah, I suck. I'm expendable.
But she's just so, absorbed in who she is and what she's doing. And then you reach that point where she admits she's being selfish, but then has to act regardless. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, yeah, what I hate about the girl boss character is often it's not remotely that. It is 100%, and people in our culture love this. It's I need to go find myself. I need to do this journey of, I need to do this journey of self-discovery. I need to,
prove the haters wrong.
Prove the haters wrong. It's just so wildly self-absorbed. And everything is like, I need to prove this to myself. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah. Why are you still talking about yourself?
Yeah, it's like an actual girl boss, like a legit biblical girl boss, Deborah style. It's not about you. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's doing what needs to be done. And that's it. And there should be no, self-discovery involved whatsoever.
There's definitely a representation of that in the movie, because at the beginning, when, she's so caught up in her own insecurity, she sings the Reflection song.
Yeah.
Where it's an entire song that's just looking at herself. And sure, it's not out of a place of pride at all, but she's still looking at herself. And in this self-reflection moment that happens later, she throws aside her helmet that she had been watching her reflection in. Mm-hmm. And then when she gets back up, it's not about her. It's about, somebody needs to do something, and I'm the only one here. And after that is when she actually gets the respect for the selflessness and the reward.
And she goes back home. I don't know. I know there's, a second movie. I haven't seen it.
We ignore Disney sequels, by the way.
We ignore
They don't exist. They're made by different people.
Unless it's... That's not Disney.
That's DreamWorks.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking of.
When I say there should be no, self-reflection involved whatsoever, I'm like, you can still find yourself. Yeah. That's allowed. But that should not be the point. Mm-hmm. Because you should actually find yourself in acts for others.
Yes.
And then you can, it just should never be an action just for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of, what do you think is a good example? I think the live action Mulan, correct me if I'm wrong,
counter example,
because we haven't seen it, is she's going to war to prove herself. Mm-hmm. It's very much which means in that case it was the right decision. It was very much a girl boss.
Yeah, there was no I was an idiot to come here, I was being selfish type thing.
The self-discovery started at the very beginning when she decided to go. Versus the self-discovery actually happening when she realized she shouldn't have gone.
But one thing I just wanted to note about going home was that she actually didn't have to go home. The Emperor wanted her to join the council. You know what a good girl boss would have done? Like a feminist girl boss? Join the council. Be the first woman holding an imperial position. And she goes, I'm sorry. I should return home. And she goes back home to her dad, where she brings all the war trophies, and because the whole thing was she wanted to protect him and bring him honor. And he throws them aside, and it's just the greatest honor is you. He has a couple of sweet dad moments. So she rejects the council offer and returns home.
Yeah.
Where she's no doubt going to get married to her.
Does she do that in the live action?
I don't know.
Kind of curious. I'm going to Google.
I don't know if she gets a job offer. The live action. See, when you're posing the question, is Mulan feminist? A great comparison is the feminist version. Because you can look at that and be like, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Because now that is girl boss. that is, I'm finding myself. That is, I'm going to prove myself, prove the haters wrong, prove that a woman can do this. And then they delete Mushu, and she gets, like, harnesses ki, and is just throwing hands, and is, like, stronger than the guys, and, like, and you're just like, oh. See, that's a fake woman right there. That's not real. You literally added magic. Well, you know, the Eastern fighting magic. In order to try to make it make sense that she can just beat everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's feminist. Because once again, like, here's the thing. We don't, as Christians, want to back off of our girl bosses because feminists want to claim them. Obviously, Mulan is not a girl boss that belongs to the Christians and you have to claim her. But we have our girl bosses. Historically, biblically, fictitiously. And it's just, you don't want the fact that they want to claim them to mean that we reject them. So, biblical girl bosses. We already mentioned one.
Deborah, obviously.
Deborah.
And you can say, I think in a lot of situations, right? You can say, yeah, this was exception. This was a scenario.
But exceptions make the best stories.
Like the men were being weak, you know, they were so weak that God made a woman rise up.
Yeah.
You know, you can say stuff like that, but it's like, yeah, but the woman was able to. So it's not like we're saying go out and lead armies. We're not.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
I don't think we should. But it's like there is a toughness that can be real in a woman. And it's like we actually live in a place, in a situation where we have the luxury of not having to be as tough.
Yes.
And I still think you should be. But it's like throughout most of history, the women had to be ridiculously tough.
Yeah, because we didn't have the first world luxuries, and war is something that happens in other places. And, like, through most of history, women have just been on the front. And you have no option to not be.
And when you say that, you don't mean necessarily fighting.
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, whip out that bow and arrow, but I'm just saying, like, there's...
But, like...
See, this is once... When people talk about strength like it's a male trait, I'm like, I might choose a different word to distinguish what I want it to be for women, and I would choose resilience.
Yeah.
Is through history, women are called to incredible amounts of resilience. And so
I do think most it's different than male strength.
Yeah, obviously. Like, it's not going to be the same type of strength. But women have had to exist in crazy situations and just be strong.
Yeah.
So to make our first world interpretation of what femininity is, just completely ignoring
based on, like, the first world conditions is actually a wild thing to do.
The dads commented too that we very much are influenced by the Victorian definitions of femininity as well. Where it's just like the fainting couches and the delicacy and the like, it's like, that's not actually women. So you've commented before about how we, as conservatives, in an attempt to fight feminism, can really, really over-romanticize motherhood. And motherhood, I've heard, is great.
Well, when you say over-romanticize,
that's why I'm going to clarify.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not saying that in like, actually mothers are bad. Like, actually you won't be fulfilled in motherhood. I don't mean that even remotely. I think
it's the Victorian romanticizing.
Yes. However, it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
So the problem is not when it says you're called to being a mother. You should be a good mother. It's when it says, oh, this will be the thing that will be all sunshine and roses.
Yeah, it's so beautiful and fulfilling and peaceful, and you'll have your trad wife era. Like,
it's like, no. It'll be really hard. Like, it'll be exhausting and painful, and
you'll still be hormonal and uncomfortable in your own body.
Like, do I think it is one of the most fulfilling things for women to do? Yes, 100% I do. I think it's great. I think motherhood is awesome. I also think that devaluing the hardship of motherhood devalues women in certain ways, because it says like, oh, I'm just going to be a mom, so I don't need to get an education. I don't need to do these different things.
I don't need to be smart. I don't need to be fit.
Yeah,
I don't need to be tough.
It's like,
I'm
no,
just
you need
gonna be a
all
mom.
of those things to be a good mother.
Yeah.
It's actually a high bar.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, do you want to pop out kids, or do you want to make great humans? Eternal souls type thing.
Yeah, so it's like, do I think motherhood's great? Yes. Do I think saying it's going to be the most fulfilling, not even the most fulfilling.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, this will be what makes you feel happy all of the time. No, probably not.
Yeah, because it really has that kind of attempt at propaganda actually has a really bad effect. Because you're going to have a chunk of girls who were never fooled by it. However, they're going to react against it. So a lot of girls will be like, everybody is telling me it's perfect, it's lovely, it's the best thing that could ever happen to you, it's going to be so aesthetic and fulfilling and all that. And they look at it and they go, nuh-uh, that looks hard. It looks painful. It looks like it would involve a lot of sacrifice, and I'm a pass on that. And so you got a lot of girls not wanting it. And then you have the girls who do buy into it, who go like, I will never work out a day in my life. I will wear all the florals. I will make all the sourdough. And then they become a mom.
I won't finish high school. I won't go to college.
I'll drop out. And they are woefully unprepared. And then it's just
a
rough.
shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just not ready.
Yeah, you didn't prepare them for how hard it was going to be. So we really need, when we're making movies or valuing movies, we need to value resilience for girls.
Yeah, I also think when it comes to motherhood, one of the things is, yes, it's going to be hard, but hard's worth it.
Yep.
And so saying no, it's going to be super easy is just a lie. It's just a different lie than the feminist lie. The feminist lie is it's hard and it's not.
And not worth it.
It's like, no, it's hard and worth it. And I think when something's hard, it can make it much more worth it.
Swinging back, I feel like we could go over a couple more biblical and historical girl bosses to support our case that girl bosses are a real thing. Obviously, that's a dumb term, be real, but no, these girls are boss. And we need to own them when they're in our camp. And not reject them, or reject women that you see emulating certain traits from them. Just because it's like, oh, that seems, a little confident and aggressive and, dare I say, ambitious. So, Deborah, the woman who stepped up. But it's like, is that an extraordinary circumstance? Yes. Do extraordinary circumstances happen? Yes. And she's an extraordinary woman that the Bible wants us to look to as that.
Yeah. Here's the question. I'm like, okay, so when you look at who you should be, and you're looking at biblical female characters, you're like, if God called me to step up, could I?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily Deborah, could I lead an army? But there's
in whatever way he's asking you to.
Yes. Where it's like, okay, could you, nail someone in the head?
Yes. The next follow-up, jail. Yeah, jail is like she didn't lead an army. She wasn't out there leading, but she saw evil. She saw that she could take care of it, and she goes, okay, then I'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's an incredible woman right there. And that's quite the feat. The call in the general, drive a stake through his head.
Pretty cool,
Pretty cool.
Just an average day.
It's a little aggressive.
It is. I would call it aggressive, in fact.
Respect for Mary. The Catholics have no problem giving way too much respect to Mary.
Yeah, I'm like, let's give her props, not prayers.
Let's give her props as Protestants, because that was a crazy, crazy situation to live through. Because, for one, the public shaming of, you're pregnant, it's not your husband's. Like, people were trying to convince Joseph to leave her, and you gotta just be like, here we go. I did nothing wrong, and I am standing straight. And then, of course, there's the fact that Herod was trying to, murder them. And they have to flee the massacre and live in Egypt and go around and it's like, okay, so this girl and Joseph, respect to both, but we're talking about women here.
I have no supervision, so I can spin my chair.
It's like, yeah, no, that's actually tough. Like, that's tough stuff to live through. Priscilla of the New Testament is also like, way to go, girl. And that is someone, it's like, that is someone that you're supposed to look to with respect. Mary Magdalene, the same. Here's a fun one. Esther. This is an example of, we don't do that.
No.
That's not daughters look and copy all of the actions.
It's not every dad's desire for their daughter.
No.
Like,
however, that was an absolute queen of a woman.
Oh, yeah. Literally.
And once again, well, looking to Mulan, it's not about her. Do you think she wanted, like, what I'd really love is to be the queen of Persia?
I would love to be in a harem.
Yeah, I would love to be in a harem competing for this kind of bad dude's affections. And it's like, no, it's not about me. I've got a people to save.
Yeah, and she did what only a woman could do.
And that's the sort of thing where when you're looking at the girl bosses that are exceptions, these are extraordinary women, you're supposed to derive principles, right? You don't go, daughters do that, because you're hoping they're never in the situation where they have to. But you can be like, daughters, see that. Do you see what was required? Yeah.
But see, you don't want your son to have to be a war hero.
Oh yeah, I would rather not.
Right? You're like, you don't want him to go to war. You don't want him to have to. But if he went to war, you would want him to be brave, to be courageous, to fight, to be strong. It's like,
I will pray for peace, but would he be ready?
Yeah, but how would he do in war?
Yeah. Because it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I don't know who said that originally, but it's kind of fun.
Someone.
Somebody.
It sounds familiar.
But the thing is, you can think of, it's the same for your daughters. You're like, I'd love you to have a peaceful life. Where the biggest hardships are the hardships of normalcy. Which are, pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah,
They get hard.
You have to wake up in the morning.
Ugh, I had to do that this morning.
I know, rough.
But, it's so hard to be me. No, but, like, here's the thing. Life hurts a little bit, okay? It does. And when you have the expectation that it won't, is why we have so many people with depression. Like, that's actually why. In my humble opinion. Because if you have the messaging of life is supposed to be sunshine and roses, when it kind of sucks some days, everybody goes, what's wrong with me?
Well, it's the reason.
Why is this horrible?
There's a difference between contentment and joy versus, like, just happiness.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and expecting to be handed happiness is silly.
It's not like you're not going to be happy when you're joyful. However, there's like a, dopamine hit that's not the same thing as a deep contentment in the Lord and with where you are and what you're doing.
But yeah.
And one is dependent on easy circumstances and one isn't.
One isn't, yeah. Though happiness will frequently follow contentment.
Oh, yeah.
But back to it, it's like, yeah, I would prefer my daughters, my future daughters, who will no doubt be as pretty as me. Unless I nerf them. But,
very weird looking.
I would hope and pray that all their trials are trials of normalcy. But I would never count on that.
No.
Because the world is not always like that. And sometimes you gotta get up and fight. And so the goal is pray for normalcy, but be prepared for war. And you never want to have your kid not be prepared when things go awry.
Yeah.
That's, when we're talking, we've talked to people about different, just aspirations for the future, sometimes tech plans, business plans, whatever people are planning for the future. And the advice for anyone who's planning anything ever is do not count on everything going right.
No, count on it going wrong, at least at some point.
Be ready for it to go wrong, because it's a bad plan if it counts on everything always working out how you hoped.
So it's like, okay, if your kid's life gets harder, if it gets difficult, it's like, are they going to be able to deal with it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, and then if you look at more different characters, there are some in other media where it's like, okay, this is an actual woman, but it is a bad one. And you can see that in the Bible, obviously, because we think they're real people, but like Delilah.
Jezebel. Adaliah.
It's like, okay, these are very real women.
Yeah, it's like, don't be that. However, that's a valid character. That's a real woman.
And you can see that in media, where you look at, like, The Devil Wears Prada.
Miranda Priestley.
Who's absolute, like, girl boss. in the
Very
sense
girl
that
boss.
she's doing the thing. She's the head of the fashion industry. She's super important, you know, and her personal life's a mess. She's unhappy.
Sucks.
She says at the end, she's like, everyone wants to be us. And that's when the main character realizes, no.
Yeah, what if I don't want to live the way you live?
You live.
So here's the thing to remember when discussing the girl boss. This is why I say don't allow feminists to claim them from you. And that counts with characters that you don't aspire to be, that are just real women. Because you have to know that most media is addressing like one thing, you know? There's the theme, the whatever they're exploring. And every time you explore one thing, you're not guarding one ditch, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, not every time, but often.
Frequently.
Most of the time.
But I'm just saying, everything lends itself to run off the rails in one direction.
Yeah, usually if you're watching one side, you're not watching the other.
Yeah. So you can't always, frequently, you can't blame the media for people's misinterpretation. So Devil Wears Prada. She runs away from that life because it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Miranda, this really powerful woman who's got like great presence and respect of everyone, and like her life is genuinely horrible and lonely and sad.
She's had like multiple divorces.
Yep. It's just tragic. And you can respect her strength. You don't want to be her. No. And Andy decides she doesn't want to be her, so she runs off. And then, so we can look at the movie and we go, correct. You did a real woman. You did a real girl boss that we don't want to emulate. And you correctly illustrated that you don't want to emulate it. However, people will watch it and be like, I want to be Miranda.
See, people watch it actually and say that Andy, the main character, if you guys haven't seen the movie, she wants to be a journalist and gets sucked into the fashion world, starts becoming like a real fashion person. People watch the movie and they think her boyfriend's the bad one because he notices he leaves her. They break up after she's completely changed. And he's the one who's telling her, like, you're becoming what you always made fun of, what you didn't want to be. And people watch the movie and they're like, he's the villain. He's not
holding her back.
He's not letting her be the girl boss that she is.
She shouldn't have left.
And it's like, well, I might not have liked him. However, he was not the villain, and he was actually completely correct.
Yeah, he was right.
The story actually shows that level of girl bossing. And it's not like she didn't want to be doing a career thing. She wanted to be doing a career thing. So I don't know what she was doing. However, the movie shows that the type of obsession, the type of like just working for other people's like love and admiration, being the one that everyone wants to be, that was bad, that was toxic, that was self-absorbed, and I mean disastrous for.
Well, yeah, Miranda also commented on how like when Andy finds her crying because she's getting another divorce, what Miranda says is, it's not even about me, it's the poor twins. They don't deserve this. And then there's also Andy's relationship with her boyfriend, where it's not just showing that it's bad for you, it's showing how much it sucked for the people around you. And you're hurting who you care about.
What I was talking about when we talked about the girl boss thing and the self-absorption, it's like that type of self-absorption, that type of like finding you, fulfilling all your desires, who you want to be, your dreams, you know, this image of yourself that you have in your mind where you're like, I could be this, you know, powerhouse of a woman in business and this, you know, in this suit or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's destructive for everybody around you and also you because of the level of just selfishness. It's like, you're going to destroy all of your relationships.
Yep.
And most people nowadays would be like, see, this is just me getting rid of the trash.
Yeah. They're holding you back.
You actually like, here's the problem. You started fully obsessing over what you could do and who you are, and in doing so, you just attack everyone else. But yeah, she's a good example of a girl boss in me.
That's a true woman, but you don't want to emulate. However, you could still look at her and admire aspects of her character.
No, there's
like, yeah, that is a strong woman.
That's because she is a true woman.
Exactly.
And so when you see someone succeed in a bad way, there's usually something to admire there. Not always, But generally vices come with corresponding virtues and vice versa. Where you're like, okay, so if I tend to be really, really, friendly and good with people, or like welcoming and kind, it's like, okay, can I also fall into a people-pleasing camp? Like, there's usually something like that. Or whether it's like, am I good at being rational, thinking through things, and not reacting emotionally when involving people? Like, very, calm and collected. Great. But now you probably also can tend to be unempathetic and cruel, maybe, and not think about other people's situations and not take into account the emotions involved. So it's that type of thing where you see this strong woman, and it's like, there's strength there, but that strength led into falling into this vice. Well, okay, what are good examples of just bad ones, just lies?
Oh, okay. The lies. Wonder Woman. Let's start strong.
I haven't watched it.
Well, the thing is, it's the sort of thing when you have, like, she's the strongest person ever, but also wears super, super sexy outfits. That's a pretty good tell that it's a contrived character. When it's like, my strength is physical strength and I'm wearing a tiny leotard. But also so it leans heavily, heavily into physical strength. Not strength of judgment wait, to be fair, isn't strategy.
She magical? Correct me if I'm wrong.
She's an Amazon. So...
are they just following the myths here? Or is it, like, magical?
No, they're not following them. It's probably a little magical. She's kind of, like, goddessy, think Thor. But, so it's, like, it's technically, okay, it's magic, but then everything is just so flat and contrived.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the fight choreography where you're, like, I see that you have to deliberately not kill her. Like, you're letting her win because it doesn't work. At all. That can be bad fight choreography. She still just comes across as like a very flat power girl.
Okay.
It's like, I'm all the power. Katniss from Hunger Games. Talk about contrived. It's just
are you saying that her character is like a fake girl boss?
Oh yeah. Very contrived. Lots of contradictory situations. And, like, bizarre, not truly female stoicness. Because don't get me wrong, part of what we're trying to shout out here is that there are different types of girls, so you can't, like, there are stoic girls, there are less emotional girls, there are, like, we have variety. But then the thought processes with Katniss are, like, so fake. One thing to spot with the fake chicks is when they're very inconsistently emotional. So there's times where they're, like, bizarrely stoic and times where they're, like, and now we're all weak sauce and, like...
Where it's, like, swinging between rational and irrational?
Yeah. Where I'm like, okay, so this isn't how people act. And it's definitely not how women act. But Katniss, I can get caught up in all the contrived morality of the thing, too.
Yeah, see, I feel like...
I'm trying to, like, stay on track.
Other things.
But, well...
Okay, what do you think about, because we talked a little bit earlier about, not in the podcast, before we podcasted, about Black Widow. And I was saying in the first Avengers movie, she feels like a girl.
Yep.
Like, is she a, like, fighter and stuff? Yes. However, both her style of fighting and just her personality.
Yeah.
Same with, like, I think...
She was a tough girl. She's a tough girl, but she acted as a spy, Like, she's very spy-coded, and her fighting was very, like, relying on elasticity and, like, that sort of thing, where she's the one who's got all the techniques, but not the force.
Shout out, Lucia, to Elastigirl.
Elastigirl, we love her.
Great woman.
In the first Incredibles, obviously.
Yeah, we don't talk about later things.
I love when she pulls the... leave the saving the world to the men, like, settle down, me, immediately gets married. But,
yeah.
She's a great woman. But, yeah, so, original Black Widow, it's like, yeah, she's a tough girl, and we have the suspension of disbelief with this entire universe, but it's holding up pretty well. But then when she gets her own movie, They completely change it. I watched it. Where, no, she's not a trained spy. She's a trained soldier. And everything is just brute strength and tough girl in too tight pants. Where it's just like, you know, they've got the little, like, focused face on, and it's like, everything's just like, That's the other thing, is I find with these fake girls, they tend to have no sense of humor.
Yeah. This is a lot of girls in media.
People are funny.
Come on, listen up.
And we don't just have one face, which is the locked-in face, but a lot of these tough girls, Wonder Woman, the female lead of the Italian Job, the Black Widow from her own movie, Katniss, there's no variation of attitude, other than, of course, I said there's the swerving of rationality to irrationality still happens, but it's all under the serious face, can't make a joke. So the Italian Job was really upsetting because all the guys are joking around and the girls just like, you know?
I feel like women are very,
expressive.
Yeah, but I was thinking more of, you know, they're not as
roller coaster?
Yeah, a little more roller coaster.
There's variation, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Black Widow movie was just soldier, physical, brute strength, and zero sense of humor, zero variation in expression, except the occasional, like, outburst of just, like, I hate my dad kind of thing. The main chick of Mistborn, Vin or whatever, because this is the other category. So the lying category of there are no girls like that is the stoic, tough girl, no sense of humor. But the other one is when, okay, you're acting like a girl, but reality is bending around you to make it, like, work. Mm-hmm. So, like, I had an example. I feel like I wrote it down. Silo. The show Silo. Where, okay, main chick, Juliet, is, in fact, a kind of emotional wreck. So, those do exist. I believe it. However, reality's bending around her in the show to try to make it look like she's being a successful girl boss. We're kind of free of the consequences of actions.
Mm-hmm.
To like, try to make it work. And I'm just sitting here like, no, she's being awful. Like, she's being awful, and all of this behavior would have just immediate bad consequences. But the world is, like, holding back to try to, like, make her have a girl boss moment. A couple more fake ones. Divergent. That was awful.
I feel like the movie was just bad. And the book. I think there was a book.
Yeah, it was. But the girl was so incredibly contrived, and that one was a blend. There were times where she was just so weirdly stoic and unfunny, and then other times where the world was bending around her to make it look like she was girl bossing.
And you're like, no.
Like, movies cannot be free from the concept of cause and effect. Like, if you have an action, there has to be the reaction. And if you lie to me about what happens next, I will notice. It'll be like, nuh-uh. Didn't. It's like if you drop a ball and it just stays there. I'm like, you're not fooling anybody. Unless you're in space. But that's like how it feels when the girl does like an irrational punk move and it just works. And none of the natural consequences happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Wish. Really any of the super modern Disney.
Yeah.
And Kanto is another one of the emotional girl where the world kind of tries to bend around her.
I feel like Kanto has an actual, like, I think she's kind of a real girl.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. She's
like, I feel like you see just on the internet girls acting like that all the time. However, It was showing her as in the right.
Yeah. It's lying to you about the reaction.
So the lie was whether it was a good girl or a bad girl. It was not a good girl.
Yeah, Red Notice has a female lead, Gal Gadot again. That also doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, no. The Woman King. That was fun because that actress popping off before it started with, if you don't watch this, you're racist and sexist. Guess who didn't watch it?
Two of us.
Yeah, I was like, no, not gonna. The live action Snow White, the live action Mulan.
Just the live actions, except for Cinderella.
Edge of Tomorrow was a fun movie, but Emily Blunt was like a cardboard cutout in it.
Yeah, but I think she was just a cardboard cutout. Like, it wasn't necessarily about her being a girl or a guy or whatever.
She just was a stand-in for attractive love interest who's also really tough.
Yeah.
Moana falls in the camp of, okay, real girl, but the world is twisting around it to, like, ignore the cause and effect again.
Mm.
You know? Where, once again, like in Kanto, it acts like she's in the right when she's being very wrong.
I feel like that's all I got.
Basically, any book
with the girl
that you come across on Book Talk.
Oh,
I mean, if you find a clean one on Book Talk, it probably has this problem. I remember, like, a while back, before I learned to just ignore certain vibes of popular books, I checked out the book Cruel Prince. Because I saw it everywhere. Finish that? Huh? No. The, quit things when they suck, people.
Good lessons.
Life lessons.
If it's bad, stop.
Stop it.
You don't have to finish the book. You can burn it. I am for book burning.
Yesterday I have burned books when they suck hard enough. It's not in a censorship way, it's just in a rage kind of way.
Well, some things should be censored.
Yeah, but just the other day I was doing my regular creative writing tutoring. And I drew 2 scales for the kids. I drew a scale that was quality and a scale that was morality. And I was like, you need to, like, mark the story on both of these. And if both of them are below halfway, you should drop it. But anywho, Cruel Prince. I checked it out because it was absolutely everywhere. And people really like it. And I was like, this was vomitous. It was so bad. However, this one was lying about girls and guys. The guy was, like, as fake as you possibly can be. Though all of the guys in those books are.
As in, it was just bad writing?
Horrendous writing, but no, deliberate lying about the nature of people. Mm-hmm. Specifically, both genders. Like, separately. Because Jude, incredibly fake. She was doubling up. She had the no sense of humor stoic thing going on, and the irrationality where the world was, like, working its way around her to make it work. Like, everything being contrived. And then Carden, the dude, was just, like, the biggest angsty simp that's ever been written, ever, and it's not a guy that exists, and if he does exist, he's gay. I mean, Jude was basically a guy, so maybe he was gay. But, yeah, so basically any of those, like, top lists of crappy fantasy, you're probably going to find these girls. But let's go over a couple better examples, maybe. Give a shout out to some better girl bosses.
It's already been an hour.
Yeah, but that's why I want to give a little shout. Like, you know, we've talked about Ghibli.
Well, Ghibli women, great.
Ghibli women. You have some genuinely feminine, good example girl bosses in there. Aura from Till We Have Faces. Obviously, we have the character development. But by the end, she's moral and still the queen. And a great queen and a capable queen. So you got yourself a bit of a girl boss. Princess Leia gets a little shout out. Granny Weatherwax from Terry Pratchett.
Oh, excellent.
Love her. Movie Breadwinner is really good. That's also got a bit of a... This is the other thing when you're dealing with feminism. You can't shy away from gender commentary. Where you're like, ooh, feminist, because they're talking about inequality. When you're talking about Sharia law, you can talk about gender inequality.
Yeah. Which
is in Breadwinner. So it's like, it does happen. You can't be shy off the topic. Astrid, How to Train Your Dragon. Helly, first season. Severance. I don't like the second season. The Queen from Shogun is a bad one. You don't follow her, but that's a genuine woman right there. We already shouted out Elastigirl, Tiana, Esmeralda, Tigress from Kung Fu Panda. She's great. And that's an example of someone who's stoic, but it's like, no, that's an actual girl right there. That's the kind of stoic that girls are. That I've met a couple. They're still the minority, but still. And K-pop Demon Hunters. There's some girly girl bosses. We won't let up on that, by the way. Anywho, so that is our thoughts on the girl bosses.
There's some good ones.
Yeah, just remember, don't let losers claim things that you think belong in our camp.
It's like never eating a burger because you've had 15 bad burgers.
I'm like, there's some good burgers out
There's
there.
a good one out there.
Just stop ordering it at Wendy's.
Or Sonic,
Anywho.
or whatever.
Whatever crappy burgers you're eating. Maybe they're vegan. I don't know.
Okay.
Anywho, hopefully
done?
this setup worked out. Maybe we'll do a different thing next time. We'll have to see.
Maybe no one could tell what we're saying. And I can't
Bye,
stop
Ameera.
screaming.
I miss you. I'll
I
see you
don't
next
miss
week.
you.
Dude.